Sit up here.
Hello, hello. So, as soon as the board clears the front table, if we could have the four candidates come up front, please. Don't move so fast.
Hello, is Jim Westbrook here? We're waiting for Jim and we're waiting for Millie. Bernier? Come on up. I know, yep, and Millie's coming. Millie's coming. Okay. We usually put them in alphabetical order.
Hello.
Millie Bernier?
If everyone's ready, can we get started, please? Thank you. Have your seats. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, please, go ahead, Millie.
My name is Millie Bernier. I live in... Okay, sorry. Okay, Millie Bernier. I live on Animal Street in Unit 4. Do you want us to go on or just introduce ourselves first? Okay, go ahead.
My name is George Clare, Unit 4.
My name's Debbie Higgins. I am Unit 6.
Good evening, I'm Jim Westbrook, Unit 2.
And your moderators will be myself, Tracy McCumber, Unit 2.
And Ron Ross, Unit 6. Millie, do you want to start at your end and tell us a little bit about yourself? Just a couple minutes and we'll run down with it.
Okay, that's all I get is a couple of minutes because I'm from New Jersey. I got a lot to say. Okay, my name is Millie. My nickname is Millie, and I born and raised in New Jersey. My first house down here was back in 1995, and now we moved back here 9 years ago. About 5 years ago, I was on the finance committee here with Rosemary for 2 years. I worked the kitchen for a year here at Bingo on Friday night, so this is not, a new game for me, but for so many years, we've got 2,800 homes in here. We all come from cities, townships, farmlands. Everybody's governments were governed different. I came from a town where we had a manager and department heads. I was the only female public works director in the state of New Jersey when I became public works director. So I know about budgets. I know about equipment. I know about personnel. I had 43 guys that worked for me. All different, attitudes and dispositions. But you know what? Bottom line is, you got to work as a team. You put that other hat on. When I was the secretary, that was one hat. But when I put the public works director, you're still the same guys and gals. But I had to answer to somebody, just like we do. Everybody's needs are different here. Everybody, all of us. But you know what? You have transparency, you have honesty, and you work together, and you know what? We can get it done. Thanks.
All right, Millie. My name is George Clare again. I'm from Bangor, Maine. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I love the Bangor, Maine. I moved down here in 2017. I worked in Maine. I ran a recycling facility. I had quite a few workers, and I can't remember all of them, but you're right. You just got to treat people the way you want to be treated. It's the same right in here with the board. For us that are coming in, we're going to be working for you people. We need your input on what we're going to do. And instead of just saying, no, we want to listen to you, but we're not going to do it. And we need the input of everybody. And I think with that right there, we can get it done. And I guess that's about it.
Thank you, George.
My name's Debbie Higgins. I have been working as a Section 8 case manager for close to 30 years. My specialty is fraud. If anybody knows what Section 8 housing is, the low income, I currently still work for that. I work for the county.
No, they don't like.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I also, for close to over 20 years, I was also command ombudsman for COs, and I represented them to families. If anybody knows, if anybody knows what a command ombudsman is, it is a 24/7, 365 volunteer job. I represented a commanding officer to the entire Navy family, including their families. I also worked full-time, so I did both jobs. And that is a lot of work to make sure. My husband was in the Navy for 30 years, so I served as an ombudsman through Desert Storm, all the ways up through Iraq and Afghanistan. I know one thing. I watched a lot of commanding officers bring people together. You have to cross the aisle, okay? I was also on my home association board where I lived for 18 years, a golf course. We had a management company and we took it back. We had problems with it. I'll be honest with you on that. I don't look at any of you as residents. I look at you as neighbors. We are only your representative. Whatever you want us to do, within the reasons, within the laws, within the bylaws, that is what should take place. Anything major that needs to be voted on should go back to you. If we need to change rules or regulations for that, then that's what needs to be done. This is your money. We are just being transparent and keeping it in good hands and making sure that we do due diligence. We have a fiduciary responsibility to every single one of you. And we need to enforce the rules and the regulations fairly and squarely.
Thank you,
I
Debbie.
also do ADA and fair housing. So I will not, under any circumstance, make a different rule for you than for you. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Debbie.
Good evening. I'm Jim Westbrook. Thank you. Appreciate that. My wife and I moved here initially in 2018. We are, like many of you, probably snowbirds. We're from kind of western New Jersey. We call it Michigan, or not. In October of 21, we moved here full time. We had the opportunity to get a little larger house with a 2-car garage, and we leaped at it. So we're just thrilled to be here in Florida. I've had a fair business experience. I worked for Ford Motor Company in their finance division for over 40 years, 35 of it with Ford. And then after I retired, they said, "Hey, can you please come back?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Come back." And I said, "No." And it went around, 10 or 20 times. And I finally agreed to, before it was fashionable to work from home. So I was able to do that. So I think I have a high level of business acumen. I'd like to focus on 3 things as we become board members, at least from my perspective. One, I'm a kind of a numbers guy. I understand the money part of it. So I want to look at the financial end. Accurate reports, current, timely reports, P&L statements that are correct, the budget processing. The second thing I'd like to be involved with is strengthening the community. And I think a couple of you have mentioned transparency. I think of it as TTR, transparency, trust, and respect. If you have transparency, you have good communication, you'll get respect. You'll get good communication. You'll get a good feeling with the community. And I think George might have said it. You're our friends. You're our neighbors. We're who you see every single day. When somebody drives their car down the street, walking their dog, and when we wave to them, those are your friends. And that's one of the reasons that I want to be on the board, is I think I can assist in that process.
Thank you, Jim. We have a series of questions presented to us from the residents that we would like to read to each particular person that it was addressed to, and I'll let Ron start, and he'll tell you who it's for, if it's for everyone, or if it's for a specific potential board member. Thank you.
And we're gonna put you on the timer at 3 minutes, so if we have to cut you off, we'll move it along. For all the board members, we'll start down with Millie and work this way. The question is, do you feel a board of directors member should use social media to discuss board of directors' business?
No. Any board of directors sitting up here, this is a business. Whatever is discussed here should be here with our residents and our homeowners to hear. Anything on the outside, to me, first of all, you wouldn't even have the sunshine law, because that would have to be advertised that you're having a meeting or something. But no, whatever's discussed amongst the board is here, and that's where it should stay.
Yeah, George Clay. Yes, nothing should be discussed on social media. Some of them sites ought to be shut down. They're just plain stupid. I feel that with us as a new board coming in, that we're able to work for you people, and we're not gonna lie to you, we're gonna be honest with you, and if we don't know the answers, we're gonna come back and get the answers. And we're not gonna say it's gonna take two months. That's kind of a scary feeling for most people. That's what was happening now. We're gonna be able to, we should know something within a week, I would hope. But that's what I'm aiming for, to keep the community happy. And as far as social media, we will stop. The next door should be shut down.
I believe once we are on the board, then all social media answers or responses should stop. I do believe, though, that we should have one Facebook page that is an official representation of Brookridge, where every day something can be put out, or if something happens, something can be said so that everybody gets it. You can do it where you can't have comments, but if there's something that's going on versus people finding out secondhand, or maybe they're not getting emails, but they're on Facebook, I believe we could come to some kind of conclusion on an official Facebook page for the neighborhood.
I also agree with the group that we should not be on social media discussing any business of any kind with Brookridge. I do agree with Debbie that you have a great opportunity with a Facebook page with the proper controls and with the proper guidelines. Thank you. That's a great word. It gives us the ability to communicate quickly. It gives us the ability to communicate with a uniform message. And if it's used properly, I think it can be an asset. But under no circumstances should items be discussed. And to go on with what George had said, when a questions get asked, as a board member, one of the commitments that I will give you is that if you ask me a question today, which is Wednesday, you should get an answer by telephone on Friday, and then a follow-up email saying, hey, I talked to you on Friday, and this is what I told you. So that there's no chance of you not getting the information and you not understanding exactly what my thought process was, depending on whatever the answer is.
Mike, we're going to ask questions after. We'll give you a moment, but let's get through this first. Thank you very much.
Can I just add one thing about Facebook? I belong to the, real quick, I belong to the Ladies Auxiliary, the Marine Corps League up here on Sunshine Grove Road, and I'm also the adjutant for the 708 detachment. They have their own Facebook page for the Marine Corps. And everything that they do, their events, their car shows, their bazaars, everything is on Facebook. All you have to do is type in like MCL 708. It brings up everything that goes on month to month. So this is a good thing if you can do a Facebook page for Brookridge.
Thank you, Millie. All right, we're going to go with the next question. This one is directed for Debbie. And there's quite a few questions here, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. The first one is, are you going to continue to attack residents on social media? I didn't write these, just so everyone knows, these are from our community. These are not from any way, shape, or form.
I actually expressed my own opinion. I guess being from Boston, Charlestown, Massachusetts, some people might take that wrong. But I've mentioned this before, that I guess if I was a man, it might be considered different than a female. Sometimes a female is considered one way, and a man's response to the same question is considered another way. But I say my mind, I speak my mind. If I don't believe something is right, I'm gonna say it's not right. If they took it as being attacked, I'm sorry if I hurt their feelings, but I just say how I feel. And I think that's part of sitting on a board sometimes, is you have to be able to be truthful and honest to people and tell your neighbors how you feel about a situation sometimes that might not be that might not be in what they think that they should hear.
Okay, thank you. The next one. Next question. Debbie, are you going to continue to belittle and degrade the Brookridge community and its members? Please, can we have some semblance? Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, I can repeat it, but can we please, I'm gonna go through a sequence of questions, so can we just wait? You guys will all get an opportunity after we're done to ask questions, so if we can just keep everything calm and collected, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm gonna repeat the question, Debbie.
I already heard it, thank
Okay,
you.
our members didn't hear, someone didn't hear it, right? You want me to repeat it? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Are you going to continue to belittle and degrade the community, Brookridge community and its members?
Well, I never belittle anybody, I might speak my mind, so if they took it as belittling, I apologize that I hurt their feelings. But I don't see what that has to do with this, but I will answer it. I speak and I say how I feel. I think that's what you need up here. Somebody to be honest, somebody to be transparent, and somebody to just sit and tell the truth.
Thank you. Okay, we'll wait. We'll go back to the question. Thank you.
For each of you, we'll start with Millie at the other end. This question is for each one of you. Can you please state something positive about the current board of directors, as you will need to work with them?
No, I can't say anything about the current board because I really don't know them outside of them sitting up here in their positions.
Let me clarify for you, Millie, and I'll let you start again. Please, can you state something positive about the board?
Well, they're all doing what they're trying to do as far as the board. You're talking about the board that the new one or the one that's here? Which board are you talking about?
Yourselves entering,
This here.
coming onto the new
Well,
board, coming onto the board.
Given the opportunity from our neighbors and our friends and our residents here in this community, I believe that the four of us, based on everyone's background and their knowledge, can get along. And like Debbie said, I shoot from the hip. If I got something to say, I'm going to say it. If you put something in front of me and you want me to read it and you want me to vote on it, I'm going to make sure that I do diligence before I vote on anything, regardless of what the other three are going to do. We have to get along. Everybody's not going to say yes and no to a lot of stuff, but that's your prerogative. It's free speech. But like I said, I shoot from the hip. If I got something to say, I'm going to say it, and that's the way I feel.
I also shoot from the hip. If I got something to say, I will probably come out and say it. Sometimes it gets me and sometimes it don't get me in trouble. I think the board members that are coming in now,
George, talk right into the top
I
of
think
the
the
mic.
board members that are coming in now, I think they give us a chance to get in here and get going. We're not gonna have an answer for you the first day, when the first meeting we have, but we're willing to look into it. You've gotta give us a little time, and I'm sure that we can work things out, and we're not always gonna agree. But you know something, you can agree to disagree, and you can get stuff done. But there's no need of this fighting all the time. It's sad, and I hope we get away from that. I have no desire to do that, but I wanna work for the people out here.
Can I just interject for a minute? We're all in this together, regardless of who's going to be sitting up here in the next 2 or 3 months. We're here to listen to everybody. That's what we're here for. But don't, and I'm going to speak for myself, don't use me as your punching bag. Don't do it, because I'm going to get back to you. If you want me to look into something for you, I will. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
All right, thank you.
If I can't, then I'll let you know too.
And let me go back and again, for the last two, restate the question. Can you please say something positive about our current board of directors, as you will need to work with them? That was a question.
Okay, I can say something positive about 1, 2, 3, but I think Gail hit on it tonight. It said that the work that Ann's put in to go through every budget that she's gone through back from 1910, or how many years she's been going through them, she has done a good job, and we should thank her for that. We shouldn't belittle her for that. We should say thank you. But you know something? I still think, deep down inside, if you just give us a chance, we'll do all right. But that's how I feel. Thank you.
Debbie?
I will actually say something that actually took place on Monday afternoon. I actually had an opportunity, I was off Monday, it was a holiday, and I went to the Rules and Regulation meeting. George had told me about it. And I had a lovely conversation with one of the board members, Gail, who actually came up to me, and I had approached her about some things that were said that I did not think was fair. She actually said to me that she really didn't know me. We had a wonderful conversation, and I think she came away with a different perspective on who I am and what I really firmly believe in. So I am grateful for that, and I am glad that I had a wonderful conversation with you, Gail, and that we got to know each other on a different level. So I can really say that about you, and thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, I think a couple of really good examples are, if you look back over the last few months, there were changes to the Rules Committee, there were changes to the ACC. That involved a lot of time, a lot of effort by the board members, and as someone had mentioned earlier, all the time that Anna's put in on looking at prior audits, prior budgets, prior financial statements. There's a lot of effort that's gone on over the last year. A lot of it's unrecognized. And I've seen, well, this is a thankless job. Why are you doing that? Some of the questions that were asked of me. There was a lot of work that was done, and we need to recognize that. And I think that will help us when we work with the next board as a group. It's pretty simple, and I'm not sure who might have said it, but somebody said they speak their mind. In my mind, it's very simple. There's right and there's wrong. And if you're doing the right thing and you're showing respect, good things are going to happen to this neighborhood. And we chose to come here. We made a final decision to leave Michigan and come here probably for the rest of our lives. We made that decision. My friend calls it the fourth quarter of your life. It's a football reference for those non-football players. We chose to be here. We want this to be a good community. Again, I said, it's our friends, it's our neighbors. These are the people who we interact with. So,
Thank you very much. We're going to go on to the next question. This is for all the candidates. A resident-only gate was asked for by some residents. What are your thoughts about it to lessen incoming and outgoing traffic? Can you hear me? A resident-only gate was asked for. Someone had talked about it at a meeting. I don't know. These are generic. We don't know who wrote these, so I can't really answer that. But their question is, what are your thoughts about it to lessen incoming and outgoing traffic? So they're asking about a resident-only gate.
To be in the back of Brookridge, coming in the back.
Having a back gate, Millie, it would be a rear gate in the rear of the community.
Well, that's been talked about for quite a few years, about a gate up in the back off the boulevard facing that other development back there. And not that one?
Back by the school.
Wasn't that where they opened the gate for the kids for the school and stuff? So they want to do a, no.
Millie, excuse me, people. They're talking. There was talk, and there's been talk about placing a resident-only gate for residents to come in and out of Brookridge and the backside, which would be back in the back towards the schools by the school and the walk-through gates for the kids. The question is, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it probably would lessen a lot less traffic up in the front for people that live out in that area, like I'm on Admiral way up in the back, and you have all the residents that live on Scepter, you know, they come down the boulevard and then they turn onto Scepter. I think it would, you know, if it could happen, it would lessen what comes through that front gate.
Thank you, Millie. George?
I would think it would be a good idea to look into it. I think it would work, but the thing is, you don't want just an arm, you want the complete gate, is what we're talking about, that closes it and shuts it. Yeah, I think it's a, huh?
Please, wait, let the candidates speak.
Yes, I think it'd be a great idea.
Well, I think in all fairness, I think we should ask the people that live, that would be directly impacted by that gate, and how they would feel about it. That means that they would have a traffic in and out. Maybe their house might be on the side of the gate, or, you know, if they're gonna come and take a right-hand turn, a light's always gonna be in their living room or their bedroom, depending upon how the house is. And I think we probably need to do some type of traffic study on that road, and how many cars actually would that benefit, and how many, I mean, would it hold up school buses, because there's a school over there? Would it hold up them? What if there was an emergency situation at the school? I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I think the first thing we would have to do would be to do some type of impact study for those specific residents over there.
Great, thank you, Debbie.
I would entertain the idea, similar to an impact study. I'd want to see what's the cost that this gate would be. It sounds like it would be substantial. So I need to know, what are the costs, what are the effects on the immediate residents who live on Scepter, who live on the boulevard up in the, I think it's the northern corner. What's the effect of the old gate? Is it going to take enough traffic away? Once we get all that information and got the feedback from the residents, then I would think that that's where you would make the decision.
Great, thank you very much, Jim. Okay, we're going to go on to the next question.
For each of you, what are you gonna do about speeding?
This is directed to each potential board member. Yes.
Okay,
please.
what are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? What have we been doing about it? You know, you're getting, letters in the mail and you're 2 miles over, but yet your vendors come in here every day, and I see it every day. I'm in and out here all the time. Vendors coming through, when they're parked on the side, they're not putting their, cones out. All of a sudden you're driving and here they are right in front of you. Speeding, you know, that's gonna be an issue for a long time, because you can't put speed bumps in here. First of all, it's illegal, because you have your ambulances and your fire trucks. How do you curtail speeding? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. You can put up as many signs as you want, curve signs and 20 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour, people still do it. UPS, they all do it. So you know what? If you guys have ideas on how to curtail speeding, I'll be glad to listen to it, because I really don't know.
Thank you, Millie. George?
George, talking to the top of that mic.
Yeah, I
please.
guess probably, how would I stop it? What would be my suggestion to stop it? Is that? I see it every day.
Microphone.
I see it every day. Everybody, flying in and out of here. We're all involved in our own thing every day, and sometimes we do get a little bit faster than we should go. But I think the biggest majority of problem in here are the companies that come in here. And I don't really believe that it's necessity to give everybody a citation and then take the privileges away from them because of the speeding. It needs to stop. And I think if we can work on that, I think we can make it happen. I'm not against it. Somebody's gonna get a ticket. If I get a ticket, I should pay it. If I'm a citation. But I don't think that we should be putting that kind of money in our budget, trying to make sure we get 7,000 or whatever it is a month, put into the budget. We're relying on that 7,000. I don't believe in that. I think it needs to stop, and we should stop losing our privileges. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Debbie?
I actually agree with George. I've seen it. I live on Brookridge Boulevard, so I live on the hill next to the pump station. I see them coming. It is the little white truck every day, and the little blue truck that says Amazon, and the brown truck that says UPS. They seem to be the culprit, and also the lawn care people race up and down, and the trash truck I have seen many a times. I do not think, and this is just my general feeling, that we should fine our own neighbors. If you hit somebody, God forbid, that would be between you, the sheriff's department, your insurance company, and probably a few lawyers. I do not think the answer to a lot of this, with these fines that we rely on, is fining neighbors that are on a very limited income.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, I also believe we should not be fining our neighbors. However, there are some examples, and the Boulevard's a great example. We get to see it kind of out of the corner, we look on an angle. Some of those cars are going in excess of 50 miles an hour. So the cars that are what I would call true speeders, going 50, 55, 60, they absolutely should get a ticket. It should be a significant amount where they feel the pain. For somebody going 31, no, we should not be fining our neighbors. The speeding problem isn't going to go away quickly. One thing that we could do is all of the vendors that come in, is as the guard lets them in, remind them of the speeding. I don't know if they do that, but even if they reminded 10 vendors and just 2 of them listened, that's 2 less speeders, 2 less chances of somebody getting killed. I guarantee you, somebody's going to get hurt on the boulevard based on a speeding vehicle. It's just a matter of when.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next question. And again, this is for all the candidates. What is your thoughts for a management company? Millie?
I personally don't really want to get into that right now because there's too much out there, too much non-information being given out. Some communities, they probably work well with management companies. Doesn't mean that we're not or we would. I've been doing some homework on some of the communities that don't have it. One is High Point. They have 1,600 homes. We have 2,800 homes. They don't have a management company. They have a board. They have a manager or director, whatever. If I could print out the 30 pages, I would. But as far as a management company, let us try and do what we can here first. Let us try and see if we can, straighten out some of these problems with the help of all our neighbors and our friends, okay, and the board and the president. Give us a chance first before we bring in somebody else for $6,000 a month.
Thank you, Millie. George?
As far as the management company, in my opinion, Millie just hit it. She really did. Give us a chance before you even decide. And there's no need of us, I know that they were probably gonna try to vote on it tonight. I'm glad they didn't, because to me, it needs to be tabled, let the new board get in here, see what we can do, and then go from there. If we're friggin' up, tell us. The only way we're gonna know if you come up and say, we don't like what you're doing. You're gonna love us tonight, but maybe tomorrow you're not gonna like us so well. That's the kind of way it goes of being up front here, and we all realize that. But, no, I think that we need to see if we can help take care of this problem. And it is, that's what I need to say.
Thank you,
Thank-
George. Debbie?
I am not on board with a a company. I had one in my previous HOA. We had it for several years. They didn't file the taxes properly. There was massive turnover constantly. So someone would get a notice that something was wrong with their house. A month later, there's a new manager and they have no idea what's going on. We got contracts that were higher than what we could have got. And nobody knows us better than us. A management company doesn't know us. They are there for their profits and their shareholders because they have to answer and make their money. I think we could spend $6,000 better every month on a CPA agency even, that's somebody, a full-time, even more than part-time, is in here constantly and straighten out the books. I think once we get these books straightened out and get us in the right track and know where we are with money and where we're not and get answers, then I think we can move along and do better things such as maybe infrastructure. I believe that infrastructure needs some upgrading. So that's where I stand, and I firmly am really not in favor at all for a management company. Thanks.
Thank you, Debbie. Jim?
At this point, I'm also on the fence about the management company. In my opinion, our biggest problem is inaccurate financial reports or incomplete financial reports or items that are missing from financial reports, and hiring a CPA, as Debbie suggested, seems like a perfect answer. Someone that can work with Vivian and work with the other staff. We just have someone with a proper skill set to come in and share their expertise. We also have the opportunity to use, for example, Mike sitting with us here. He has the skill set to run this clubhouse. There's an air conditioner here that's older than probably most people in this room. And it needs some either preventative maintenance or it needs to be repaired. We can't wait till things break, such as the pool. If we're proactive, we spend a lot less money than reactive. Think about your car. Do you change the oil at 100,000 miles or do you change it at 5 when the manufacturer suggests? Well, everybody here probably changes it at 5. So use the talent that we have here, and if we're missing some talent, for example, a CPA, then let's hire that person and let us try to solve our problems. And if, as George said, if we can't, then we have to look at other options.
Great. Thank you, Jim.
Can I say one thing? I am not for it. And I'm gonna be right up.
Into the microphone, please.
I am not for it. And I think it's not the right thing. I think it was they hit it on us. They didn't want us to know, and the things are coming out now. And I think we're gonna learn what it was really about. And I know the people on the board that went through it, they worked hard, but there was no need of them hiding it from the members in here that's paying the bills.
Thank you, George. Okay, we're going to go on to the next question.
For a question for each one of you. We'll start at this end. Jim, you get it first this time.
Thank you.
Due to meetings being held at varied times of the day, will each of you be able to attend all the meetings?
I will be able to attend, my best guess is I'll be able to attend 11 of the 12 meetings. I have a unscheduled planned surgery that I will probably miss one meeting. The other 11, I absolutely 100% plan to be here. I do not have any travel plans that would stop me from coming to either the workshop meetings or the board meetings.
Thank you, Jim. Debbie?
Well, I've been quite honest, I work full-time, but we are in the digital age. It's wonderful. I can Facebook, I can Zoom, I can go to meeting at any time. I have that flexibility in my office, but I do think the meetings should be moved. If anybody leaves here in the morning, the amount of people that work is a lot. I called it before at another meeting. It happened in our neighborhood, and that's why we're here. It's called a generational turnover. Younger people are now coming in, and even our older people are working. They have to work. Things are tight out there. But I think in the age of digital, I mean, when I was a command ombudsman, I could pick up my telephone in Moyock, North Carolina, and dial the ship that was in Bahrain, off the Persian Gulf, or in Somalia with a clear connection. I think I could even dial my phone right now and talk to somebody in Dubai. So I think in the age of digital technology and workplace improvements, I think anybody could do any meeting at any time.
Great, thank you, Debbie.
Can I expand on that real quick? While I worked for Ford in the later years, I probably participated in hundreds of Zoom meetings. They were all effective, they all worked well. I agree with Debbie.
All right, thank you for that, Jim. George?
Yeah, I'll be able to attend meetings, as long as I'm not golfing with Ron.
Thanks
But
for that,
anyways,
George.
we could do that. But no, I'll be able to go to the meetings, but I guess like Debbie said, the meetings that we're having at 9 o'clock in the morning need to be removed. They need to be done at nighttime, where the residents can come to listen to what everybody has to say.
Great, thank you, George. Millie?
I agree with George. Even with Debbie working and, you know, if it's a Tuesday that I call bingo, I'm not here. But anyways, at nighttime is good, 6, 7 o'clock, the way they have the meetings now. This way everybody could come out. A lot of people here can't get out, you know, 9 o'clock in the morning. They might have doctor's appointments or, you know, they're away or whatever. At night, this way, all your residents and your members come to the meetings at night and they know what's going on. Never mind
Thank you,
mornings.
Millie. The next question, again, is for each candidate, and we'll start with you, Millie. What are you looking to accomplish being a member of the HOA board?
What am I looking to accomplish being on the board? Trying to get some of these problems straightened out with the help of our residents and our homeowners. Listening to, you know, you're not going to solve everybody's problem. You're not going to solve, you know, well, you know, the dog on the next block is barking. Well, you know, we can't do anything about that. But we do have some, you know, some serious issues here within the park. But you're going to take one thing at a time. Let's do a priority. Right now, the priority is this, our finances. Once we can get through this, however long it's going to take, but we will get through it, then go on to the next one, like you say, infrastructure or equipment or whatever. Let's listen to all our homeowners and our taxpayers here, see what they like for us to do too.
Thank you, Millie. George?
What I think, what I could do for the board or try to do, I think our first thing that we need to do here is do a forensic audit. You know, we hired a CPA, that's great, but if we're gonna pay $45,000 to $50,000, I think everybody out here that's coming here should be able to say, this is what we want. We should listen to the people. Instead of when we have people get up and try to explain themselves and say, no, I think that we need to listen to the people, and in my case, I'm gonna listen to the people. I might not agree with you, but I'm gonna listen to you. But I will do my best to try to solve the problems in here. The budget's the biggest thing right now, the money, the situations, and then we can go from there. But I think we can make this work.
Great, thank you very much, George. Debbie?
Well, I saw a need, watching, while we were building our house here, I saw a need watching the YouTube meetings and the past meetings. I noticed a couple things, and I expressed that to Miss Gale when I met her finally on Monday. I said, I noticed a few things. I learned a lot from commanding officers. They had the youngest ones just getting out of diapers to the oldest, crustiest ones you ever want to meet, and everybody in between. They said the only way that you can bring trust among everybody, is you have to reach across the aisle. You have to walk the middle aisle. When the board members come in, they walk the right aisle. They don't come over and they don't say, hey neighbor, how you doing? Thank you for coming out tonight. So I saw that change that needed to be done. I also saw that there was a lack of transparency. If people don't know what's going on, they don't trust you. And I think that that really needs to be brought back. I am prepared, sitting up here, that if I have to call a special meeting or tell whoever is going to be the president at that time, we have a problem and we need to call a special meeting. And call a special meeting on a Saturday or a Sunday and have everybody in here on the YouTube and say, we have this situation. Not against any privacy or things like that, but we have a situation and we need your input. I don't have a problem doing that because I am only up here at serving at your pleasure and doing things that the way you want me to do them within the rules and the regulations. So I saw a need and thought I'd step up, and that's what I did.
Great, thank you very much, Debbie. Jim?
I'd come back to what I said earlier. I'm kind of looking at three areas that I'd like to focus on. The financial side, and one of the big pieces of that is improving or increasing our revenue or income streams. The oversight of the expenses is just something that all 7 board members do. Assisting the community by bringing in new ideas and new thoughts on fixing our problems, our issues, and our daily challenges. And the last thing, it's been mentioned several times, it comes back to TTR, transparency, trust, and respect. Once we solve those, then everything will be fine.
Can I just mention one thing very, very quickly?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I had looked around at a lot of the website and everything else. I think we need 2 things. One from the board. I think we need a mission statement and a vision statement as a contract with you. I also think that each department here should have those mission and vision statements. We are a multi-million-dollar business. And if you go into huge businesses such as Ford, or even down at the county, you will see mission and vision statements for each department. That is like a contract that employees and representatives have made with you. And that is lacking here. And I think that is one of the things that I had brought up and we will definitely work on. And I think all the other departments should also have that too.
We've got one final question. We've got one final question, and then we'll take questions from the audience, okay? But just for the board and the residents, in full disclosure, the 2 moderators sitting here have a sheet with several questions on it that we elected not to ask because they appeared very attacking towards individuals. And we did not want to ask those kind of questions. With that in mind, here's the final question for the board. And George, I'm going to let you start it this time. We're going to let Jim off the hook and Millie off the hook. It's a little bit lengthy question, but I'll read it, and I'll read it twice for us. Do you feel you could put aside any personal feelings for others you may not get along with and do what is right for everyone in our community without favoritism or pointing fingers at others who do not agree with you? Do you feel you could put aside any personal feelings for others you may not get along with and do what is right for everyone in our community without favoritism or pointing fingers at others who do not agree with you?
I think I could. I mean, I think I can, and I'm going to. You know, like I said before, we're not always going to agree. But as far as, you know, people have badmouthed me, they badmouth everybody. But, you know, you got to have a little bit of thick skin and allow it to happen, but maybe go talk to them people and say, well, what is the problem? And come back and try to work it. But I will do everything, even if I don't like it at times, but I'll do everything I can as to make the residents of this community happy. And that's the way we have to go. And That's about all I can say. I want to make it work.
Thank you very much, George. Millie, do you want me to repeat it? Okay, I'll let Ron do that. He's more long-winded than I.
Do you feel you could put aside any personal feelings for others you may not get along with and do what is right for everyone in our community without favoritism or pointing fingers at others who do not agree with you?
I can do that as long as I'm sitting up here and I'm a board member. But once I leave, I'll let you have it. No, I'm only kidding. You know, you're gonna put us up here, hopefully. We're not gonna always agree with people. They're not gonna agree with us and we're not gonna agree with them. But you know what? Whether it was my next door neighbor or not because he had his bush growing into my yard or whatever, you gotta get along with people because if you know, that's why wars start. You gotta get along with people. I have a son that just, and Greg doesn't, and Joyce doesn't notice, he just completed 42 years in the military and three tours over in Afghanistan. So you know what? If my boy can be over there saving people and doing what he's gotta do, I'm gonna stay here and help and do whatever I can for the community. That's how I feel.
Great, thank you, Millie, very much. Debbie?
I look at this is a business. I would be on the business side. And anything that I would have to do would be for the best of the community, regardless of how I feel about you. I enforce rules and regulations. I enforce federal rules and regulations all day long in a federal housing program. There is people that I meet that come in and scream and yell at me and slam the doors and get up and leave and do all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, fair is fair, right is right, and wrong is wrong. And rules are rules, and they have to be obeyed and abided by everybody, including us. And respect, we, like I have said a few times, we are serving at your pleasure. So we are here to make sure that whatever we do is for you and for your approval. If you don't want to approve it, I'm not going to walk outside and say, I'm going to do what you want me to do. You're my boss. And that's how I look at it.
Great, thank you very much, Debbie. Jim?
I see it as, serving on the board, I see it as a privilege. Again, you're all my neighbors, you're our friends, the people that I ride with in our bicycle group, people that I play poker with at Texas Hold'em, people that I play pickleball with. They're our friends, they're our neighbors. There can be no finger pointing. When I was real little, what the old saying was, well, when you point one finger, three point back. Well, that's a pretty accurate statement. It may seem childish, but it's pretty damn accurate.
Thank you very much. We're going to come out to the audience and we will take questions.
We'll go side to side. Give your name and then your question.
Gail Metcalf.
Sorry,
Gail
Gail.
Metcalf. I don't have so much of a question as I do maybe a statement. And I asked the four of you getting on the board to get familiar with your deed restrictions and the statutes. And I'll help anybody with them because I'm pretty familiar with them. I know that a couple of you have been talking with. So you just want to be familiar so you don't make wrong decisions because that happens. Another thing is when you're looking at an issue, like speeding, you want to look at what has happened in the past and what worked and didn't work and why the rules were, the fines were upped and the loss of privileges were up. There was a reason for that, and you should look at the history because that will help you to go forward. And I wish all of you good luck on this new board coming in, and I'll be very happy to see you all working together.
Thank you. Robin Napier, Unit 3. I really appreciate having the time with you guys tonight. What I would love to hear from you guys is how you feel that we're going to be able to fix. I mean, a forensic audit to me is kind of like that's just going overboard. I just want an audit. I would love to see it. And then I can't understand how, if it's just about what we heard tonight, which was something about the bingo. Well, hell, that can't be that much money, so I can't believe that we're worried about a bingo, as that's why we can't see an audit. So what I want from you guys is to say, we're not going to do that anymore. We're really going to give you guys the statistics, the facts, the numbers that add up, and every month, if we have a question, we can get the answer that night. Not that I don't bring the books with me, I don't know what it is, we didn't discuss it, we haven't got that stuff right now. That's what the meetings are supposed to be for. So.
Rich Stratton, Unit 3. Make it very simple. I served on this board up here already. I served as treasurer. Now you look at me like, okay, I was banned from going in the office talking to the bookkeeper. I didn't have a key for the door. I'm the treasurer. Every morning I was there with Mark, 9 o'clock. Every check written, I had a backing for it. The reason why, I want to make sure where money's going. Number 2, you want to make some easy money? Capital contribution. It started about three years ago, nowhere. 2 years ago, nowhere. Average, how many we have in here? You said 12 new residents a month? 12. Average. Say it's 20. 20 a year, that's $20,000. 2 years is $40,000. We could have had in our pocket free money. You don't pay it. You don't pay nothing at all. You don't pay it.
Questions?
It's okay to them. I want them to look into this and take care of business to put the $40,000 in our pockets.
Rich,
So simple.
Can I answer that, Rich?
Yeah.
Question.
One of the things that we should do is not only look at capital contributions, but there are many opportunities where we're missing out on revenue and income. And that's what you're talking about is income.
Right, the other.
So there's probably a half a dozen things that we can look at. Increasing our utilization of CDs that are pay high interest rate, capital contribution.
Yeah.
The late charge used to be $5 on $42. Now that it's 48, it should be more than 5. That's just revenue for us. So we need a team or a group or a committee, whatever, to look at how can we increase our revenue without, the clear thing is, without affecting the current residents, without negatively affecting them.
Is there a question
Thank
on this
you,
side?
ma'am.
thank you, Jim.
I'm coming back to you, hold on. I walk slow because I'm old. Please, your name and then your question.
Peter Bretzka, Unit 4. I just want to say something in regards to the speeding that was brought up earlier. I do have several suggestions and ideas. However, nobody's going to buy breakfast in the morning, so I'll just get you one of them. We do have someone who's hired to do radar, okay? And that person was specifically hired for the radar. However, in regards to the contractors that are out there speeding, okay, we don't really have any kind of a program to go after the contractors who are speeding. So in turn, what they do is they write out violations to the property owner, which is not fair. This is what's been brought up. The property owner gets fined, they get suspended because of a contractor, and that's not right. I think that if a contractor is caught speeding, a violation should be sent to the contractor and a fine should be assessed to that contractor. And after so many violations that they go through, they should be suspended here for 14 days and let them learn a lesson. And I think the fines should be up as far as speeding for not just the residents here, but the contractors as well. And if you're speeding, and no one gets a violation for anything over 35 miles per hour. It's not 31 or 32. is 35 miles per hour. If you are going over 35, you will get a violation. So, but I think the fine should be upped on that, because people do it and they get away with it.
Could I,
And that was, well, that was just a suggestion. It wasn't really a question, it was a suggestion.
Okay, I would like to answer that as far as the speeding is concerned. I'm going to give you a true example of just what happened to me in December. We had gone away for the day, left at 10 o'clock in the morning, and got a letter in the mail from Code or whoever it came from, stating that we had a delivery made to our house. They had the plate number of the truck, and that it was speeding. Well, first of all, we weren't home on Friday for any kind of deliveries that came to our house. So I went down to the board, I had to write out a letter and everything, they took care of it. But the thing is though, with the speeders, why should the residents be responsible? Why should they get summoned or notices because somebody else is speeding coming to your house? That's not right. They're not the ones that are driving the trucks and the motorcycles and everything else in here. So if that's on the books, it's gotta be taken off. Residents should not be responsible for who comes to their house speeding.
I will, like, 5 seconds.
6.
Thank you. I will say that I believe that rule has been changed, that you would not receive the fine should the vendor be speeding. And I believe some people had gone and got that reversed. If I am correct, and can I ask? Okay. And if they still have a problem, then they should come up and see.
Talk to code enforcement.
Okay.
If it's not their charge, I mean, they'll take it off. But vendors now are not, when they speed, the resident does not get fined, because 9 times out of 10, those vendors go to 4 or 5 different houses. So
Right.
they will give the first house that they are going to. So we have changed that, and we don't do that anymore.
Yes, thank you.
Question, Vince?
Just a question. Will any of you watch any videos on how to be a board member? Will
Yes,
any of you
yes.
ever watch any YouTube meeting, YouTube videos
Yes.
on how to be a board member?
Yes, there is certification classes out there that I believe that we would have to complete once we are on the board. Yes.
Okay.
It is just like at any other home association. You have different certifications for different states that you live in.
See, I was employed here for 7 years, okay, and probably around, when did you resign?
What?
When did you resign? 2019?
I resigned just right about the time I quit.
After that,
I slept since
there's been one controversy after another for the last 3-4 years. Am I right, everybody? One controversy after another. And I would like to ask this. Would you just come upon the residents with an agenda?
Can I
Like,
answer
if you,
that?
are you coming to be a board member with an agenda?
No, my agenda is my neighbor's agenda, what they want me to do.
Thank you.
I've got a question up here, and I'm going to remind everybody, if you got a question, ask the question. Please don't make a speech.
Nancy Whetstone, Unit 4. I believe there's a... Nancy Whetstone, Unit 4. I believe there's a significant percentage of snowbirds that live in the community. And the bylaws, the way they're written right now, prohibit snowbirds from being active members on significant committees and on the board. And with the new technological capabilities that exist, what is your opinion on ensuring that at least one board member can be a snowbird?
I,
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I honestly agree that a snowbird and there should be one position for a snowbird on the board, and there should be other positions through other committees. The reason why I say that is this. They pay their dues every month, just like all of us. They pay their taxes. They have to have their lawns maintained, their house washed, et cetera, et cetera. They're not using the amenities for probably 6 months. And when COVID happened, some of our neighbors weren't even allowed down here for a couple of years. So I honestly think that is really on the borderline of discrimination, that you don't allow that. Well, why can't we start with one and then see how it goes? But I think jumping into it and having everybody at one time, and let's work out the kinks. There might be communication issues. Maybe wherever they are is bad weather or something like that. So let's start with one and move on from there. When these bylaws were written, technology had not been advanced yet, in all fairness, and has now. So I have honestly believed that from the get-go. They have and we expect them to vote, and they're not even part of this. So that's my personal feelings. Thank you.
Another board member like to comment?
I actually have a comment as well. I believe that there should be, as Debbie had said, one and only one position for snowbirds where they have the opportunity. Now, this time there's 4 board positions open. So position 1 should be available for anybody in the park, including snowbirds. Position 2, 3, and 4 should not be. So that if you're a snowbird, Mr. Smith is a snowbird, he wants to run for the board, Mr. Jones is not a snowbird, they're running for position 1, then the members get to decide, do I want a snowbird on the board or don't I? The members tell us what they want. We're following the members' direction. Having more than one, in my opinion, at least early on, is not a great idea. But it still allows the snowbirds to have some representation. What I am concerned of, and I was a snowbird as well, just like probably several of you were, what I don't like to see is the us versus them thought process mentality. We're all Brookridge residents. Whether you're here 6 months of the year or 12, they're all our friends, they're all our neighbors. And again, there's right and there's wrong, and I think it's right to allow them to participate in a limited fashion. And I see Mike has his hand up.
Thank you, Jim. I've got 2 other board members that have a chance to comment on this if they wish to.
I feel the same way. I think we should have one person to, like Debbie said, try it. See how it goes. Don't dig into it. You know, put 10 people on, but put one person on that wants to be a snowbird, that wants to come in here. I don't know how you handle, when you have a personal matter and you're over the phone, I guess it would be the same way. But yeah, I think it's a great idea because they don't have any rights as far as right now. So let's make it work.
Millie?
I agree with the board. They pay their taxes every year and their lawn maintenance and everything else to have their home here. So they have, and you know, it sounds like when you say they have, it's like discriminating against the Canadians or wherever they come from. My husband's French Canadian, but I can't talk about him. But anyways, it's true. If you're here, you're part of this community, then you should be a part of the board. That's the way it should be. Everybody should have a fair chance at it.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is Mike McMahon, Unit 4. I just have a question for the board. I'm living here 14 years. I am considered a renter. I am not a homeowner, okay? I'm very involved in this community. I'm different clubs, I'm on different organizations and all that stuff. I am told I have no right to speak at meetings or nothing because I am a nobody. But I pay, you know, the HOA fees like everybody else does. Why am I nobody?
Well, it's not that you're not nobody. The thing is, you're not the owner of the property.
Right.
You're not the homeowner, you're not the taxpayer, even though you're paying your rent every month and you're taking care of your utilities. And I understand it could be a double-edged sword because renters do the utilities and all this other stuff, but you're not the homeowner. You're not the, well, that's up to you. I mean, it's nice that you're on all these committees and, I mean, because God only knows we could use all the volunteers and people for these different, you shouldn't feel that way.
Right, and I
You
think
should not feel that way.
well, I think the other thing is too, is that it comes down to only one person can have the vote. So if you are, the ballot and things like that go to the homeowner. So what I would suggest that you would do is contact the person who you were renting from and ask them that you have an input on how they may decide a vote on, right. Well, then perfect, then you can share your feelings on how you feel about, things that are going on. And hopefully that they'll let you have more of an input in what they vote on and what they decide. But I am glad that you're involved. Everybody is always welcome to be involved.
Thank you. Any other board member want to comment? No? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and staying late. It's about 20 minutes to 10, so have a good evening.